Welcome back. For our top domestic story this hour, we are looking at one company's effort to increase its use of pesticides, a move experts say could have catastrophic consequences on the U.S. bee population. According to a report in Environmental Health News, Dow AgroSciences recently applied for a massive expansion in its use of sulfoxaflor, an insecticide which is known to harm bees. Reporter Brian Bienkowski writes, quote, "The agricultural chemical company submitted an application to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to allow for the use of the pesticide on rice, avocados, residential ornamentals, and at tree farms and greenhouses. Sulfoxaflor, which attacks the central nervous system of insects, is designed in part to replace neonicotinoid pesticides, which multiple studies have linked to bee colony collapse. However, sulfoxaflor has also been shown to hurt bee populations. Bienkowski links to a study published this August in Nature, an international journal of science, which found that, quote, sulfoxaflor-exposed colonies had a 54% reduction in the total number of sexual offspring produced compared with control colonies. The EPA has classified sulfoxaflor as, quote, very highly toxic to bees in the past. With bee populations and pesticides in question, we turn to distinguished conservation biologist Dr. Reese Halter. All right, Dr. Reese, do you believe the EPA will grant this request based on its track record, and how do you feel about this news?
Yeah, sadly, I think we're going to see a green light here. This is disastrous. At 5 parts per billion of this sulfoxaflor, the bees shake to death, and those that live can't reproduce. What we do to the bees, we do to ourselves. It's not just the food. And by the way, pollinators, they account for pollinating 75% of all food crops that we eat, but it's also 336,000 other plants, mostly some 80,000 trees, species, that are at risk here. The whole web of nature.
And can you describe the damage which has already been done to the bee population over the years and what's behind that decline?
Yeah, well, this is disastrous. Last year in America, we lost 40.1% of all the commercial bees. That turnover is crippling for beekeepers, for commercial beekeepers, and it's also a disaster for our food system. We cannot continue along this pathway. And by the way, these chemicals don't just cause the bees to shake to death and in the interim lose their minds. The bees are getting Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. The poisons fall onto the soil. It kills soil life, which means that the ground-feeding birds have no food, which then means that the goshawks and the other raptors that predate on the ground birds have no food, and we're missing 1.5 billion birds in North America alone. These poisons are ricocheting completely all around our biosphere, our living sphere, and they're poisoning the water. Now, this just can't be good for any and all of us, right?
Yeah, but then why is it allowed to happen?
Well, isn't that the $64,000 question? The EPA under this administration has green-lighted the destruction of our planet. The sullying of the waters with coal sludge, the green-lighting of poisons that are known to kill bees, the main pollinator of all life, the toxicity in the air, the assault in our oceans. The facts are we cannot continue as a race to annihilate our mother nature. our life support systems.
When will it reach a breaking point? Because what you've just described as happening with the birds and the bees is pretty bleak.
Yeah, well, we've reached the breaking point. My goodness, we're seeing with the heat. The heat alone was disastrous in Northern Europe this year. We had crop failures in Germany, Australia. It's been so hot in the past that honeybees spend their entire day doing water runs to prevent the wax from melting. And when it gets so hot, the plants can't even flower. We're at the point now. These are very delicate times, and we've got to back off. We've got to back off on the poisons. We've got to back off on energy. It's what we're sourcing our economy with, these carbon fossil fuel energies, which are subsidized 5.3 trillion every year, and they're cooking our planet. We cannot live on a cooked planet, and we can't live without the bees, the trees, or the seas, by the way.
Well, at least when it comes to this issue, there is still time for viewers to act, because the EPA has a comment section open on this application from Dow until November 13th. What would you tell people to say in those comments?
Please, please reject this new poison, this new class of poisons, this sulfoxaflor, because it's a neuroactive poison that discombobulates the muscles in the bees, which means that they shake and they lose their minds, and then they die. We can't live without the bees. Please protect our bees.
All right, we have to leave it there for now. You made me feel a little bit better, because I stumbled many times saying sulfoxaflor. See, I still can't do it myself. Dr. Reese Halter.
There you go.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for your time.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.